Hello, welcome back to another episode of From Prison to the Streets. I'm Eric, and today we're making more prison weapons. So, yeah, I am going to be making a mace out of saran wrap. So, yeah, that's a thing. So, what you're going to need, saran wrap. We had this in prison. And you're going to need an old shirt and a couple other things. Anyway, I did 11 years in prison, so I talk about prison stuff. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content. And we're going to start getting into this. So, saran wrap was something that we got in prison on in our lunches. So they didn't sell it on canteen. They didn't give us rolls of it. Basically, we got sack lunches in the hole, and when we were on work crews, like if you were on a maintenance crew or something like that, you really didn't have time to go to the chow hall, so you'd get a sack lunch. And so, yeah. Now, for those of us who are prisoners, this box is a mystery. I'm not even sure how to get it open, so, yeah. Let's see. It says press here. Well, that's not working very well. This is the shit that you deal with when you spend a lot of time in prison. You don't even know how to open packaging. All right. There we go. There's a flap there. Anyway, so they'd give us saran wrap in our sack lunches, and it wasn't a thing where we'd get a whole bunch. We'd get little squares of it, about like this, and our sandwich would be wrapped up in that, or our bread or our vegetables, whatever. So basically what we would do is we would save our saran wrap every single day and save all these little squares. So I am going to cut a bunch of little squares so it can be authentic. I'll be right back. So the next step, I got a bunch of squares cut. Not as many as I need. I'll have to cut more. But your next step is you're going to want to take an old t-shirt or an old sheet or something. That's what we used in prison. I'm using an old shirt here. And you're going to want to tear off a strip. This is going to be your handle when you're swinging your mace around. There's a couple different ways you can make this. And basically you can keep going all the way around the shirt if you want to. You can make this real long. I also made fishing lines out of this in prison. Fishing is something that people do when, let's say you're after lockdown or something, you're locked in your cell, and a dude a few cells down has something that you want. Maybe he has a book or cards or a pencil or paper or whatever. Maybe he's trying to pass you a kite or something. And so the way you do it is you will have some sort of line like this with a weight on one end, and you'll throw that weight under the door down towards his cell, and then he'll reach out and try to catch it. Then he'll tie whatever on that you were trying to borrow from him, and then you pull it back to your cell. It's called fishing. And there's guys that use little tiny strings to do their fishing, but honestly, this stuff rips. It's no good. All right, so I got quite a bit of line here, way more than I need for a handle. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and, well, maybe rip this off. There we go. Sorry, Camacho. I think I just nailed my dog with a shirt. All right, so now we have all of this line. However, this material is not super strong, so let's do something to remedy that. And the way we're going to do it, well, first, we don't need all of this. We need about that much, maybe about 3 feet-ish. So I'm going to rip this off. off. Maybe. In prison, a lot of times you don't have a knife handy. At least not one that's going to cut material real well. You might have a poker, but that's not good for cutting material. It's good for stabbing people. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna tear off another piece here. All right. There's that. So now, the way we're going to make this stronger, you go ahead and tie a knot on one end. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to turn this into cord. I'm going to take this, I'm going to twist it that way, and then I'm going to pull the opposite way. And that's going to twist these strands back on themselves and turn it into a cord. All right, so I got this all corded up. Probably have a little over 2 feet of it. The end, once you have it twisted to the desired length, you're going to tie a knot. And I'm going to leave a little bit on this, and I'll show you why in a minute. Got a knot on each end, little cord. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but there you go. All right, next step. You're going to take one of your ends with not so much excess hanging off. You're going to take a square of saran wrap, and you're going to wrap it around that knot. Wrap it. Just wrap it around as tight as you can. And then just pull it tight. That one's not super pretty. And once you have that on the end, you're gonna put another one on there. And it doesn't matter if your cord kind of moves around in there. Matter of fact, it's almost a good thing, because then you can't just pull the cord out. Which, this is going to be about the size of a baseball. Matter of fact, that's what they call them in prison. They call them a baseball. I don't know if this is something that they do in other states, or if this is just a Kansas thing. But then you keep pulling it tight. My cord is starting to unravel a little bit on the end, but it'll be all right. And you're starting to get a little ball of saran wrap on the end. And you just keep taking the little plastic squares of saran wrap that you've harvested from many days' lunches, and you keep putting them on. And your plastic ball on the end is going to get bigger and bigger. And when saran wrap is pulled tight and balled together, it gets to be very hard and very heavy. Now, you wouldn't realize it, but I mean, once you pack it tightly together, it's just plastic. It's just really hard plastic. So now you can start to get an idea of what this is going to turn into. Although there's a few more steps. Now let me keep putting saran wrap on this. I'll be back. All right, so I started wrapping this thing at about 10:30. It is now 1:39. So, as a matter of fact, I have been rendering and uploading a video about making music while I was making this thing. Now, usually you'd make these a little bit bigger. You might want it to be about that big-ish. Doesn't need to be super huge, though. The thing is, with this all tightly wrapped together, this is really hard. So what you would do, there's actually one more step to this. You dip this in boiling water. And that makes the plastic all kind of tighten up together. Makes it even harder than it already is. And this is really, really solid. They call this a baseball because it has that same size and texture. Anyway, you would dip this in boiling water in prison. And guys boiled water by making what's called a stinger. If you don't know what that is, or if you're interested in seeing how it's made, you should go check out Larry Lawton's channel. He put up a really good video on how we boiled water in prison. So basically how you would use this, you would take your cord, you wrap it around your hand like so, and then you'd swing this like a mace and hit someone in the head with it. This is not as dangerous as the old lock on a belt. It's not as heavy. It doesn't have the hard metallic edges. Although it is hard, it will split somebody open. I don't know if it would crack their skull. I've seen people busted open with these before. So they are dangerous and they will hurt you. But if you get hit with one of these, you'll probably live. Probably. Because there's always that chance. But, I mean, it's hard. You don't want to get hit with that. I promise you. Like, I was testing it out, smacked myself in the arm with it. No. I don't want to get hit with that. Nope. I'm good. But that is how you make a mace out of saran wrap and an old t-shirt, which is what is called a baseball. What we called a baseball, at least in Kansas prisons. So, that was another episode of From Prison to the Streets. I'm Eric. Thank you for watching. I will see you all later. Right nation.